to the Excellent Podcast. I am your cinematic host, STEFON WHITAKER, the head honcho of SW Films. And today we have a special guest in the building. All right. The notorious, the mischievous Najah Martin here on the podcast. How you doing, Najah?
I'm pretty good. And yourself?
I'm good. It's a beautiful Monday. We're filming, of course, on Inauguration Day, so there's lots of conversation happening on the internet and different things. But
stay off there for the next few days. So yeah,
so
it is.
Yeah, nah, for sure. But no, I feel good. I feel great. I'm happy that you made it onto the podcast.
Glad that I got an invite.
Yeah, I've been seeing you doing a lot of stuff as of late in the last, really since I met you, which was in 2023. First off, I had followed you, I think, on Instagram, maybe back in like a year prior to that, I think, but we had never really spoke until Mr. 219, shout out to the homie, his music video, Bussin'. And I brought you in there, got you on that shoot. We had a nice little 1 day, very packed shoot in Angola. And that was a fun shoot. So that was our first time meeting. And then I feel like ever since then, even before then, before I got you on there, was like I've seen a bunch of different stuff that you've been doing in the modeling space, doing different things for different artists and different, just your own brand, back in Fort Wayne and different things. So I want you to speak to your excellence. I want you to talk about who you are and what you do and just, all the dope shit you got that you've been doing.
Well, like you said, the notorious NajahRei, like Biggie Smalls, might be better. I don't know. Different aspects, I guess. But I really like to say professional cool gal. That's the title, official. But I really do a little bit of everything and a lot of bit of nothing. I like to be my own boss, as you can tell. So I model. I just recently got that working with Playboy now. Their executive staffing director had reached out to me personally, gave me his personal phone number for a few things. So I'm looking to get on some events. I don't want to name drop too much, but events coming up in 2025 that I'm going to might be able to catch me at. I don't know. Well, we'll see. But I bartend, I serve, I am a professional cleaning and organization specialist. I do a little bit of interior decorating and a little bit of everything. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what's up. So you've been chefing it up, especially in the last year. You know what I mean? Being able to get more stuff going with your modeling. I want to start from there.
That's what I've been focusing on this past year is my modeling and my burlesque. So I'm trying to hone in on
that. How did you get started into modeling? How did that career choice, that interest, how did you fall in line with that?
Good question. I'd say when I was probably like 9 months old, my mom had got me into like baby modeling when we lived in Columbus for like baby product ads, so like car seats and stuff like that. I did that for about a year or so and then never really did anything from that. Got a few checks, but that was about it. And then I didn't really get back into it until I was probably like 14, 15. I'd gotten a camera for Christmas one year because I really, really, really wanted a camera and to take pictures. So my parents finally spent a little bit of money and got me some nice camera. And I started taking pictures of myself and all my friends. And then shortly but slowly, from there, people started reaching out to me, asking me to take pictures of them. And then that turned into, I realized I like being in front of the camera more than behind the camera. Mm-hmm. So I started taking more pictures of myself and having my friends take pictures of me. And from there, I think just more and more people just started reaching out to me. And that's why I haven't really signed to anybody yet. There was one point where right before my accident, I was working with some different agencies, one in particular that I thought that I was going to for sure sign to get locked in. But then the accident happened. And I feel like that was just everything happens for a reason that kind of just helped me to realize what it is that I really wanted to focus on and do. And I don't think signing to an agency was really in the cards. I like being freelance and being able to make my own schedule, work when I want, with who I want, when I want. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot there. I mean, well, first off, you mentioned, and I think when I met you too, I never really asked about, you're talking about the accident, of course, that has, the mark there. I never really asked about, yeah, I never asked, like, what was that accident? If you don't mind me asking.
When I was 17, I was working at Bob Evans, and my girlfriend at the time she had picked me up from work and had a friend who was not a very good influence in the car with her. They were doing some bad influence things, and it caused a fight. And so we went to go drop him off, and she did this dumb thing while driving, and that caused us to veer off the road. We were driving in like the people's front yards on the opposite side of the road for almost 500 feet. So that's like about half the length of a football field. So, and then by the time I had looked up, we were going head on directly at a pole about 55 miles an hour, not even 20 feet away. We probably had like a little over 10 feet to react. And my only thought, I know I say it a lot, that I used to say it a lot, that I want to die when I have those bad days. But my very first thought was, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. So that's what I did. Their lives. I touched the top of the steering wheel just enough for us to go right in between these two poles, so we didn't hit them head on in the car. Yeah. So small, I didn't even make it through. And that's where all this came from, because I went flying up because I was the only one who had taken off my seatbelt to save us, which thank God I did that, because it worked.
Wow. Yeah, nah, for real. God was looking after y'all, because that's crazy. I mean, that's definitely unfortunate. That situation happened, but kind of going back a little bit to what you said about, you doing modeling at 9 months old. First of all, 9 months is hella young, right? When you would in that moment, like, I'm sure it was probably hard to even maybe have a process of like maybe what you were thinking back then, or even maybe what your mom was thinking. Like, did it feel like, okay, this is something that was going to stick, like, maybe from your perspective, but also from your mom's perspective of you modeling at that young age? Like, usually that's how a lot of, actors or models start sometimes, is they have that family influence, especially if you look at like all the like Disney kids or the Nickelodeon kids, they get started from a real young age. But did it
have that help that the parents, they see it at a young age and are able to help push them? I feel like my mom has always known that I'm destined for something great, obviously, but
absolutely, yeah.
Like, that's just, it took a while for the both of us to figure it out that maybe it was going to be modeling and burlesque and where I am now. Yeah, I definitely did see this a few years ago where I'd be at now. So yeah, I feel like that was a surprise to all of us. But at the time, I don't really know what she was thinking. Needing money, I guess. Using my good looks.
Yeah. What was your childhood like? Like, what was it like growing up for you? I mean, because whenever I hear somebody who starts off doing something, whether they're, put there because of, family influence or friend influence, or just, you got into it yourself, and then there's like this gap of where like you don't have that interest, or you maybe forget about the interest. Like for me, I grew up from a young age saying like, I want to be a film director, and I'm that. But it was like a gap from, I want to say maybe like 8th grade to like all the way up until I went to college for film school. There was a huge gap. I was like, playing sports. So I thought I maybe was going to do sports. There was a point where I thought I was going to be a rapper too. Like there's these different points where I was like, I think I'm going to do this instead of this. Like, what was your childhood like, and how did different things influence you to get back to that modeling space, or to take you out of it as well?
I think my childhood was a little bit more rough than other people's, I'd say. I grew up there was a lot of back and forth. My parents, I didn't have the most stable environment, but me and my mom have always been very, very close. She was the one that I always look up to. It's mainly her and my grandma that did most of the raising me. My dad has been there, but not quite active, present, but not active, I should say. Anybody can be a father, it takes a real man to be a dad. I always had a father. I haven't always had a dad. We've just recently, I feel like, started to get a little bit more closer, and that's only because I I feel like I've grown up a lot, so I'm able to learn and hear and understand a lot more things that I maybe didn't understand back then. Like my dad was in prison for a huge part of my childhood, and I would always ask, like, why did he go there? Why did he go there? I never really got the full story until I became an adult. He would tell me versions of the story. It'd always be the same story. He never lied about it, but he always added more details. The older I got, the more I could handle. That's what but it's always been me and my mom. And I grew up watching like back and forth. No matter where I was, there was always Disney Channel or Nickelodeon on the TV. I grew up watching Hannah Montana, all the Disney Channel and SpongeBob, Nickelodeon networks. So I feel like I always I would see it on TV and reenact it at my house in the living room. I put on plays and stuff. Like me and my cousin were always the kids to be putting on, give everybody, the whole family, invitations to come to the living room for our show or play or music performance that we might be putting on at the time. That was every time we got together.
Right. Yeah. No, that's dope. I mean, with that time, I guess, would you say a lot of those rougher times, like, well, first off, you said, 9 months you did it, which obviously is, it's probably hard to remember pinpoint exactly those times, but like, and then you got back into it at like 14, 15. Was that gap just from, well, obviously you're still very young at that time, but even then was like just interest, you know how kids' interests just kind of flow to a million different things at the time. Like, how did you get back into it? Was it more influence from like your mom saying, hey, you did this at a certain age, would you want to do it again? Or did you just find it on your own?
I think that was more of myself until, like I said, I was talking to an agency right before my accident, and I was supposed to sign with them 2 weeks after, or the week after what would have been my accident. And at that moment, I kind of had just like given up the whole thing. I don't even know where my camera is. I think I gave it away at that time or kind of sold it, something like that. I can't quite remember because at that point, I didn't want to be in front of a camera. I didn't want to be behind a camera. I just felt so ugly. The accident had completely rewired my brain. I just felt like a little kid. I had to relearn a lot of stuff. I was in physical therapy for a few months. So like, I really didn't want to be anywhere near a camera until one day one of my friends had reached out. She was just getting into her photography phase and had just reached out her career and asked me if I was still modeling and if I'd like to work on a shoot with her. And at first I said no, because I didn't want to at all. I didn't feel cute. It was a few weeks before I even got to take a shower. So my hair was on my for a while. Then when I finally could shower, my mom and my grandma had to sit me in a chair and shower me. Which is kind of, it's a defeating and humbling feeling being a grown adult and knowing you can do these things, but not being able to do these things.
Yeah. That's
things
crazy,
like shower and wipe your own butt. Yeah, it really was sucked. And finally it took a while for my friend convincing me to get in front of the camera. And finally I was like, all right, you know what? I'll do it, but it's not going to be anything great. And that ended up being the shoot that really launched me off. After that so many people started reaching out to me. I put my story with it, explained my story. It was a child's play themed shoot. So I dressed kind of like a chunky aesthetic, and with my scarred face, I had just gotten my stitches out, so it was real fresh on that side. And I think
I remember seeing that too. I think I remember seeing that. Maybe, what year was that?
2019, I'm going to say. Or it might have been 18. I think it was 18.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I feel like I kind of remember seeing that. I mean, I don't know if I remember seeing it maybe around that time. Because, I mean, 2019 was right when I was just leaving Indiana to go to California, at least towards the end of 2019. But, I mean, I do remember seeing that photo, though. When it comes to, like, just the experience, like that very first experience, right? And how it led up to, building more of a career and more of a just identity as a model within Fort Wayne. Well, first off, not even just Fort Wayne. I do want to ask, you said you grew up in Columbus, right? Is that where you were born?
I stay in Ohio. I go back and forth from Fort Wayne and Ohio, Indiana and Ohio all the time. So
yeah.
but
Okay, yeah.
South Ohio.
Right. Okay. So like, yeah, because I mean, obviously, I grew up in Angola, Indiana, born in Fort Wayne. So I think seeing you and then knowing some of the different people that you may have worked with or had been around, I'm like, okay, she seems like she's doing a lot of work in Fort Wayne. With you starting your career in modeling, both in Ohio and then maybe going back and forth to Fort Wayne, like how are you creating these different connections and relationships with different people? Was it just
Networking.
networking? Yeah, like how was those experiences?
Everywhere I go, whether it's if I'm working, other people are working. I'm at the store networking. I'm in the bars networking. I'm out to eat networking. I'm constantly networking everywhere I go. Oh, you take pictures? Oh, that's perfect. Well, I'd like to see you outside of your uniform sometime. Here's my number. Boom. And then it's constantly networking has created so many amazing connections for me and amazing opportunities for me just from simply just saying hi, starting a conversation.
Yeah.
You never know if the guy next to you is on his way to success. If you could, something that you could do, everybody has a piece of the puzzle, I feel like. Sorry, I was kind of stuttering right there. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Got to make sure I'm not having a stroke.
A piece of the puzzle. Yeah. Piece of the puzzle.
Every time I start stuttering real bad like that, I start saying my ABCs just in case.
Just start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So with your experience with modeling, I want to know about some positives and some negatives just in that experience because I don't know. I know there's quite a few like models or people who are actors. I think models and actors kind of go through similar ups and downs in their journeys and stuff like that. Especially because you're from what the society thinks or from what the external, people think is like you're using your looks is the sell, right? And with that, there comes a lot of caution to take within certain relationships and certain connections and networking. What were some positive? I want to know what were some positive and negative moments, and you don't have to delve too far to deep in anything if you don't want to, but I definitely want to know like what kind of experiences how long have you been doing modeling by the way, like how long has it been years wise?
About 10 years going on, close to something like that.
10 years? Like, how old are you?
Almost 24.
24. When's your birthday?
December 23rd,
Oh,
2000.
so you just turned. First of all, happy belated birthday. Yeah. Capricorn gang, right? Capricorn?
Hey. Yep.
Same. My birthday was in January, or January 9th. So yeah, I respect that. But also, I forget, in those 10 years, within those almost 10 years, what experiences have shaped you? Because both positive and negative experiences shape us as, into who we become, career-wise, personal-wise. Tell me about some experiences for yourself.
I feel like the accident in doing that whole Chucky inspired the Child's Play photo shoot 100%. Yeah. That was a big shaper in my career that just launched me off. I feel like other points where I feel like getting discovered or reached out to, I should say, by my burlesque troupe, Specialties Burlesque now. This is something that I've been with since it was created. That was all new. And we are, this year going to be having a lot coming up show-wise and stuff with the troupe. I'm honing in on my weaponry skills. So anybody that comes to a show might be able to get to see a little bit of knife play, some rope play, something like that. But I feel like the pros and cons for sure would definitely have to be, number one, the connections, the networking. I love because always opportunity. There's never not opportunity. That's the best part. I feel like a negative to this whole industry would be definitely you cannot trust everybody, and not everybody is your friend. Yeah. Not everybody is wanting has your best intentions at heart. So it's kind of hard to differentiate who's there for business and who's there for pleasure and what there is to gain and what there is to lose. Everybody has something to lose and everybody has something to gain. Yeah, it's crazy because I think as models in any type of, right, because there's many different types of modeling and acting. There's more of the ones that's
adult centered, adult themed. There's more of like the models and actors of more kind of mainstream, safer stuff, or more, whatever kind of just more out there in a mainstream platform. And like a lot of people love to, especially with women, with men models. I don't know too many men who are modeling, and I'm sure they might go through some of the same downfalls, but I think women have very specific things that they deal with, from specifically like creeps out there that like, oh, well, let me do a photo shoot for you, and I can do this and do that, and it's some weird shit, like there's a lot of stuff like that. So I know a lot of that stuff can be very difficult, just trying to manage these connections and relationships and stuff like that. Hopefully for yourself, nobody's ever tried to like press you like that in terms of like, oh, hey, like NajahRei, I got something for you. Do this. Man, like, which is just crazy. But, I want to know more about the burlesque troupe, because I don't know much of that at all. And as I was doing research and planning for this interview here, like I was seeing a lot of the page that you have, on your bio and stuff with the burlesque group. And I'm interested to how you got into that and what that even is, and like how has that played a huge beneficial factor in your career?
Oh, I feel like one of the a few of my favorite movies I've maybe aren't the best childhood movies, but a few of my favorite movies that I watched as a child were definitely Burlesque with Cher, Coyote Ugly. Yeah, some of those classics. So I feel like watching that as a child definitely made me. I could see myself on those stages and in the light and behind the camera and stuff like that. That's where I always pictured myself. So when I found out that the burlesque community in Fort Wayne was so huge and that I could make that opportunity for myself, then I jumped on it. I messaged every single burlesque page that I could find in Fort Wayne, and finally one of them had messaged me back, and they were splitting up as a troupe, and two of the members were rebranding as their own troupe. That's Specialties Burlesque. So they brought me on as the foundation, and so far we've done quite a few, I want to say 3 or 4 shows together. And our next show is going to be here in March 25th. It's Wizard of Oz themed.
Okay.
Catch me being the cowardly lioness. Sexy but cowardly lioness.
Yeah.
So, that's, I don't know. I just always have seen myself on the stage doing fun stuff. Making the crowd laugh, making the crowd smile. I love to incorporate my humor into everything that I can. So, including deaths, I'm definitely the person you want around if somebody dies, because I will make you smile.
Right. So with this burlesque show, it sounds like, and I feel like maybe I've seen a burlesque, because there was, I want to say this is back when I was living in Indiana. There was like some Fort Wayne. There was maybe a couple people who I maybe seen that were a part of that group. There was like some event, I forget what the hell it was called, but it was like this event that was just like housing a bunch of different kinds of like shows, like music from, comedy, and then burlesque. And like there's the one girl in Fort Wayne who I'm sure you probably have maybe seen, who she does a lot of shit with fire. I forget what her name is, but she does a hella shit with fire.
That's Danielle Bell. That is Mary's muse. Breathe Muse is actually the founder of our troupe.
There you go. See, exactly.
With our specialties, SPECIAL, and then T's, TEASE, get it? Specialties. We focus on all of our different, everybody in the group has a different specialty. Like I focus on weaponry, so like knives, ropes. I can do lyra work and stuff. Danielle, she does firework. We have theatrics in there, acting. We have all types of, everybody focuses on, we all have our own different specialties. And that's why we came up with that name, Specialties, so that we can get a chance to display. Everybody's different. We do drag, all types of stuff, in there. So at our show, you definitely will be able to get a taste of everything. And the way I would describe burlesque is, if for those of you who have never been to or have heard of burlesque or have been to a show, I would definitely put it as an elegant, classy, sexy sort of striptease type of dance but it's all telling a story. It's all humorous and sexy and elegant.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. So that's dope. I mean, it's cool to see, like, because, like Fort Wayne, there's definitely I feel like a market for that. I mean, I feel like in most places you see kind of market of that stuff. I feel like I live out in LA area, so like I feel like I've seen that in some capacities out here, in different places.
Grown a lot in the past couple of years, and it's getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, like in terms of just like the stuff that you're doing. I mean, like like I said, there's a lot of theatrics. There's a lot of stuff with weapons. It's a lot of like it's just entertainment. How has that played? Like, what would you say has been the particular thing that has been the most important to like how you move in your career and how you move as a model and just as an icon as you're becoming? How is all of that moving into how do those things help move into what you're doing now and what you're trying to do?
Definitely keeps me. I like to stay fresh, relevant, always new skills under my belt. Like to stay like an onion, like I say off Shrek, always finding out new layers.
Right.
I like the rush of it all. So that's it helps keep me relevant.
Yeah.
I like to always be able to say that there's a new skill that I learned or that I could teach or that I would like to learn.
Yeah.
Always
for sure.
learn.
Yeah. Like in terms of that, like first of all, doing the weapons, I got to ask that because is it like you're like throwing up knives in the air and like juggling them type shit? Is it like that?
I can't quite juggle. I'm working on it, but mainly like target throwing and just like knife play.
Yeah.
So, but yes, I would eventually, once I'm not so scared, be able to juggle some knives. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
For sure. Maybe knives on fire. I don't know. I would like to get into the fire play, but I got a couple other things that I need to perfect first because I'm a real perfectionist. Everything has to be perfect before I can present it.
For star, yeah, like because the Danielle Bell, I think I think I may have met her like way back in the day, like I don't know, 2017 or some shit, and yeah, just seeing her doing a lot of that shit with the fire, I'm like, man, seeing a lot of people do that. Like I've seen that at different things, like like going to like the circus or going to seeing, like I said, seeing when they did the whole burlesque kind of thing in Fort Wayne at that time. I'm just like, dude, this shit looks crazy. I don't know how anybody could do this and not fuck up. You know what I mean? I'm sure there's a lot of trial and error.
Yes, there's a lot of practice and safety and precautions that go into shows and anything along those lines. Like we do flow, like a lot of workshops and stuff, flow groups. I don't know if you've heard of the 260 flow page or flow group. That's like a diff of like flow artists. So that includes like fan works, the silks, fire. They all get together every so often. I think Danielle is one of the founders of that group as well. And they work together, learn new things, learn new tricks and how to help each other and safely and surely and licensed. This is all under licensed watch supervision.
Yeah, that's dope. So with the people that you're working with too, like I don't know Danielle well or whoever else may be a part of the group, but like does it seem like a good and healthy mix of like different types of people that would be doing this, different types of women that do this?
Definitely. We got all shapes, all sizes, all colors, all genders. We've worked with everybody. So, and that's the beauty in it. That's one of my favorite things about working with our troupe, Specialties Burlesque, is we're so open, so accepting, so always wanting to learn and know and experience more. We're all about the experience. Everybody getting to experience and display all their own special talents. So
that's dope. That's what's up.
A bit of everything.
Right, which is dope. I want to break into the Playboy, the big Playboy opportunity and blessing that has came your way. I want to talk about. I mean, you kind of briefly explained it towards the end, at the beginning of the podcast. Just talking about how you got that opportunity a bit, but I want to talk about just like overall, a little bit more in detail and in depth, maybe about how that situation came to be, and also just what is what is your particular plan with moving in that space? You know, because I think when I look at Playboy, right? Playboy is like that iconic, the bunny, right, with the little suit type thing on, whatever.
Pretty
And
iconic.
iconic, right? And like the thing with Playboy is there was a point where back in like the 80s and 90s where Playboy was the biggest that they had ever fucking been. You know what I mean? Like they were, everywhere. You get a Playboy magazine, that shit in the 90s and the 80s, that shit was like a real big stamp, But then Hugh Hefner died, and then, you've seen a little bit of some of the just like it started to kind of shrink a little bit, or the little bit of controversies too came around. So I'm not sure how big Playboy is anymore, but still a huge opportunity because I don't know anybody else from in the area doing Playboy shit. So like
Neither.
for you, exactly, talk that shit. Me neither. It's just me, Naja. Yeah.
But,
How did that come to be, and what's the overall plan for you with that?
well, a few months ago, I want to say right before Halloween, I had saw online because I stay up to date on all the Playboy stuff. I love Playboy. Yeah. That's been like one of my biggest dreams since, I gotta say, probably too young to be dreaming like that. It's been a dream of mine. So, yeah. So I definitely, I had seen a post that they made on their Playboy Instagram page about how they're doing a casting call for a new 2025 Bunny team and Playmate of the Year. And as soon as I saw that, since it's my best friend, we both emailed and auditioned. They had different casting calls at all their different, all their main locations around the country. And I wasn't able to make it to the first one because there was just so much going on. And I felt like, oh my God, I just missed out. I spent the whole day crying. Like, I missed out on the opportunity of a lifetime. This is my dream.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see me win, until finally I was like, you know what? It's not over. I could just reapply and just, I'll make it work. And that's exactly what I did. I reapplied. They ended up giving me the second location because that was one of those things. They don't give you the location on where it's going to be until you get accepted and they review your whole application. And then they'll send you the stuff. And then you get to go to the casting call. There was a bunch of girls there. I want to say 100 and a little over 100.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there was a few that got invited back for an after party event. I don't know if it was only a select few, like that was an invite only event, but and my friend were a couple of the people who got invited back.
Yeah.
Definitely were mingling, pulling some strings. I made sure to get cozied up to whoever I needed to at that time.
Yeah.
It's new. They had some current bunnies there at that event that we were able to talk to and ask questions and stuff. I made a few friends that already are in the industry as bunnies and were on the Playboy team in general. And then a few weeks after that, told everybody, waited even longer.
Yeah.
Starting to feel kind of weird because we already told everybody. And recently, I want to say towards the end of December, beginning of this month, they had emailed us back. They sent out the one email that they send to everybody, and then we also have a personal email as well. So a couple personal emails and that little thing to set up our Playboy profile. So I'm trying to get my following up on the Playboy site itself. So I can get a little bit more work and get, have a little bit more, traffic to my page and to myself in general as a brand and as a whole. So, but I definitely will. I'm working on getting some emails together and reaching out to be proactive. I like to stay proactive on top of everything. So I don't wait for the opportunity to arise. I like to get the opportunity, grab it for somebody else to. And that's what I plan to be doing all 2025 is not just stepping, but stomping.
Yeah. There you go. I love that. I don't
want to hurt anybody in the process. Y'all can talk too. I don't want to hurt anybody in the process.
Hey, but if they get hurt, it's all right. Hey, sorry. If you get hurt, You just was standing in the wrong spot. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You gotta walk with me and not stand in front of me. But yeah,
exactly. You could walk with me. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that is one of the, especially getting to do all that with my best friend. We've been getting booked for a lot of stuff, like not just Playboy, but like photo shoots, video shoots, all types of art stuff lately. So getting to do all that with my best friend, I feel like is the best part about it all. Because I used to do all this by myself, and it's fun, and I like it, I enjoy it. But it's way better when you get to do it with your friend.
Exactly.
Both on the same gigs and stuff like that. Both got accepted into Playboy. So on the 2025 team. So I really love that. I'm excited for the opportunities that lie ahead. I don't want to spoil it or jinx myself, but I have a very good feeling it's some big stuff coming this way.
Absolutely. First of all, congratulations again. I mean, I seen that, and I had to give my congrats, like one of the things is too, especially for myself, who I've worked with a lot of different people in different capacities, music videos, commercials, movies, stuff like that. Like when one thing I noticed when I worked with you on that music video, the Bussin' video, is just a lot of very good energy. You know what I mean? And I can always support anybody who has good energy, who can help elevate a room or help elevate maybe a situation from being awkward to being, normal again, or just, adding a new energy there. So I think that's why, I support you and, and of course want to work more in the future as well. But, I mean, first of all, that's dope. And I imagine when you submitted and everything, they probably obviously wanted to see a bit of like, okay, she has modeling experience. And so I imagine that was a lot of the process too, right?
Yeah. We got to the whole process as a whole. It was almost like a full day production almost being there. We got there real early. We had to do 2 different interviews, change our outfits, get in our swimsuits and stuff. One of the interviews is on camera, so everyone is cool at the first interview where we're just talking like how it would be conversating. But at the second interview, that was we're a little less stressed. Big old bright lights and a big old camera in our face. So like I could see just everyone start to clam up at that point. Thankfully, we were some of the last people to go and get interviewed. So I got to practice some things to say and some things not to say by watching other people do theirs. I love being one of the last people in situations like that, to where I can see everybody else get interviewed before me. So then I know what to say and what not to say, because watching everybody do their first interview just fine and myself doing my first interview just fine, and then getting in front of the big lights and camera and stuff, it kind of, to watch everybody clam up like that, it helped me prepare for what's to come. And I feel like helped me nail the interview. They definitely loved me, my best friend's personality. Love that we're from Ohio, the Midwest, small town. Love that. So yeah, it just clicked. It clicked.
That's what's up. I mean, there's just a lot of great opportunities that I imagine can, come from that. So congratulations to you. I expect to see much more big stuff.
Speaking of opportunity from that, just being, like I said, always networking, being in that place at that time, perfect time, right place at the right time. When we were walking out, there was a few tour buses that were at the location that we were at, which was at the Virgin Suites Hotel in Nashville, downtown. And it's usually where they put like the artists if they have a performance in town that weekend or whatever. And there's tour buses, so I knew there had to be a big name on the tour buses because they were nice and they had a very nice team, well put together. And I decided to ask who was on the tour bus. And my first time I asked the people that I asked, they didn't want to say. Finally, me and my friend, when we were walking out, had just so happened to run into the right guy, the manager, and into Tyla's manager. So
Tyler, okay.
That weekend in Nashville. So I got to talk to him, get connected with him. That was pretty cool. So meet her, but eventually it'll.
There's so many opportunities, yo, and that's great. First off, it depends, because I've been through those situations too, where you just you end up being in the right space at the right time, you know what I mean, and you meet these different people and you have these different connections. I mean, that's what a lot of since the last 5 years, it's kind of has happened to me as well. Just kind of like especially working on set with some of these different kinds of people and everything. And sometimes, there's those different areas where it's like, oh, damn, you get super close to maybe getting a chance to meet somebody or you don't meet them. I've also had that too. Like there's that movie that just came out with Keke Palmer and SZA. And I had an opportunity to work on that movie, but I never got a chance to. And that would have been amazing if I, got a chance.
About going and seeing that.
Yeah, it's a great movie, yo. It's like a modern version of like Friday, low key, but from a two female lead. Like both Keke and SZA are both great in it, and it's a funny movie. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I love anything with Keke Palmer in it. She's wonderful. She an idol, an icon of mine.
Yeah, for sure. So one thing I want to ask too is overall, like, what your thoughts are on a couple different things in terms of like the market of like modeling in the areas that you've been in. So like Fort Wayne and then, some of the areas in Ohio, as far as by the markets, like Fort Wayne, I think Fort Wayne has quite a few women and men who are like, would call themselves models in Fort Wayne. Right. I don't necessarily, there's a few that I know, but I don't necessarily, I can't, I don't know if I can take them. Talking shit. I don't know if I can take them serious necessarily because I don't know what they're doing overall and how much and at what degree they're trying to take it. But I guess what from your experience going in and out, connecting and networking with people, how do you feel about the market for modeling?
I would like to say the word model oversaturated. It's overused, yeah. But the industry itself, not necessarily, because everybody always needs something different for whatever it is that they're working on, and anybody can be a model. I like to say or like to think.
I can't agree with that. I don't think everybody can be a model.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
Any type of person could be a model if they really wanted to, but it is
different ways, yeah.
And not everybody is able to last. Yeah, I feel like the word is definitely overused, oversaturated, but there is a lot less people that call themselves models and actually have the evidence or the receipts to back it up than there is people that use the word.
Yeah. What would you, so compared to Fort Wayne and then compared to where specific in Ohio, or would you say like the other place in Ohio are you based in?
I stay in Van Wert, so it's like halfway between Lima and Fort Wayne. So it's like a pretty generalized area, good area to be in because I sometimes am working that way, or Dayton, Toledo, Columbus, Indianapolis, like Chicago, so it's, I feel like I'm right in a good place, the center-ish.
A good center. What are the differences between those two markets do you feel like you've noticed and seen?
Between which two markets?
From Van Wert, Ohio, or just that part of Ohio to Fort Wayne?
There's definitely more opportunities the bigger the city. I feel like when I'm in Fort Wayne, I have a lot more opportunity versus when I'm here. When I'm in Indianapolis, there's a lot more opportunity versus when I'm in Fort Wayne. And there's always, on each project I work on, I'm finding 2, 3, 4 more opportunities or connections for myself.
Yeah.
So I really like that aspect of it.
Yeah. So with, because I think starting out as a model, right? Like obviously, photography is the first step, really. I feel like getting into some sort of photo shoot. And then of course, there's different opportunities with video shoots. But that's when things get a little bit more like that's when the gamut opens up a little bit more in terms of like, okay, I could do a music video, or maybe I could do a commercial, or maybe I could do my own narrative project, or and then there's the other sides of the videos that goes a little bit on the more explicit side. There's different kinds of shit, right, in those different spaces. From what you've seen, from terms of like people who, like you said, will call themselves a model, I think what really helps distinguish someone from being like taking it serious to someone who is maybe just, kind of just using that word without the proper passion?
Are you locked in? Are you locked in? Simple as that. Can you get locked in, and are you? If not, or if not, can you? That's why I said that backwards. Yeah, but
Well, I guess more from the project side, like because I think like you said, a lot of people. I'll go on your side in that when you say anybody could be a model, and in a certain degree, maybe, especially depending on like the maybe the narrative or the reasoning behind it, whatever. But like,
it's
yeah,
very easy to find people to take pictures of. It's a lot harder to find somebody to be able to show off acting skills in a music video, or to be able to walk actually in heels down a runway. Like, there's all different types of modeling, and it's hard to find as a model what type of model you are, I guess, especially when you don't have a lot of opportunity or experience to be able to do that, to figure it out. Thank God I have. So, and I feel like I have a very well-rounded collection of different types of modeling under my belt.
Yeah.
Like, as far as runway, portrait, commercial, acting, everything. But yeah.
Do you think that I'm sorry, say it again.
No, I said it really depends on the project, I guess.
On the project, yeah. Do you think it helps to have like someone manage your career at all? Like, in terms of like someone who kind of helps organize some of those different business dealings, or help figure out more of how to move on social media, or more move in like a real business acumen? Do you feel like for a model from Fort Wayne, Ohio, wherever, like, do you think that's at all could be a helpful move for a lot of people to take it more serious, or to get more bigger opportunities, like how you got in the Playboy and stuff like that?
Having a personal assistant, an agent, a manager, whatever you want to call it, or whatever it is classified as, definitely helps in all aspects. Helps with stress, helps with management, helps with being able to set up your socials and prioritize certain things and the priority that you need to have to prioritize. It definitely helps, but I don't want to say it's for everybody. I know some people work way better when it's just them and nobody that they have to answer to or send stuff to or anything like that. Some people, but everybody could use any type of advice or mentorship. I feel that works.
Yeah, because back in like 2016, and then up until maybe 2018, I think, right when I got back from film school, I had actually mentored two different people who wanted to get into fucking modeling, which is, kind of interesting. And the reason why I was mentoring them was, one, that's when I was actually doing a little bit more photography myself at the time, which, I don't do photography at all anymore. I mean, if I do, it's for personal stuff, or for branding of my, for SW Films, but I don't take photo shoots for myself anymore, or for clients anymore. But I was helping them. And it was a girl and it was a guy. It was a guy and a girl. It was a guy first. And this particular dude, I'm not going to get into the personals of who they were, but the one guy, he wanted to get into it because he had just gotten out of jail, right? And somebody told him in jail that he could be a model. And, like, I'm sorry, that's kind of funny, right? Like, looking back at that, that's
are these Fort Wayne-based people?
This guy was from Angola. Both of these people are from like Steuben County, LaGrange.
I feel like I've worked with the same guy.
There's probably he was a white dude. He and like I don't know. I think, and then he was getting into it, right? Like, he actually kind of had like I think there was a certain part or portion of him that I could actually see him actually succeeding in that realm. But then it got to a point where his girlfriend at that time told him, like, I don't want other like girls and people looking at you like this, and then he just kind of stopped it. So there was that person. He out the way, right? And God bless him. I hope he's doing well. I always bring up the stories of me mentoring people, because those were very important moments in my life. I feel like that had helped me a little bit as a director because mentoring and teaching and coaching, that all falls in line with directing as well. But the other girl, she had like a little bit more of a rougher background. She had a really, at the time, I think she was, in a really abusive relationship, and she's a little heavier set, and she wanted to get initially it wasn't modeling. Initially she wanted to apply to one of them like MTV shows that a lot of people could get on, like, not saying it was this particular one, but 16 and Pregnant or fucking, one of them type of shows. What's the one where they're just filming like
for Love Island, and I'm like,
yeah, like shit like that, kind of. It was stuff like that, right? And I think I did one photo shoot with her, and it was just the first time where she could see herself, in that light, and I think she enjoyed it, she liked it, but she fell deep and down to whatever situation she was going through personally, and she, just never made it into that space, and I think that's tough too. I think in general, a lot of people, I think a lot of people, when it comes to modeling, photography, filmmaking, music, a lot of those different types of creative, spaces, a lot of people think it's easy to do because they see people just making money doing something that doesn't seem like it's taxing. But that it's taxing. I know that it's taxing. And people think that, they look for the gold before they really look at the, what they got to do to get there.
right. I feel like that's how I used to look at it when I was younger is I just want to be paid to be pretty. But like, I mean, I still do, but it's a lot more that goes into it than just looking pretty and being pretty and stuff. You got to be pretty on the inside too. And I feel like the biggest thing with this whole industry, like directing, modeling, being behind the camera, anything in this industry is it takes a lot of confidence and security. You got to be secure in yourself and your team and whoever you're working with. You got to be secure and you got to be confident, even if it's a shit project. Even if you know that it's a shit, you got to be secure and confident and get it done. Like sometimes the shittiest end up the best.
The best, yeah. For you, when did it come to you that you realized that there was a lot more business like that had to be established within modeling?
At an early age, when all my friends wanted me to take their pictures for free and record their concerts for free and stuff like that. And at first I didn't mind, but then I was like, oh wait, I'm pretty good at this and I can charge. And other people are offering to pay me. So why would I not charge people? Yeah. And then I started doing that. And then once I got in front of the camera, I realized like I did a few shoots for free to get some promo and coverage for myself and marketing.
Build up a resume, a portfolio.
Yeah. Exactly. I got to build the portfolio. Yeah. Still working on that and rebranding my portfolio now. So I think that's something we're going to be working on tonight after the gym. Yeah.
With oh damn, that's a good point that you bring up too. That I always think about this in terms of modeling because I feel like I don't feel like it's pushed out there heavily, but like just the overall fitness that you got to have, and just like keeping healthy and different routines that you do to like keep your skin good and all that. Like how is that process for you too? I imagine that has to be part of the taxing shit too.
It is. Not only is it time consuming, but it's energy consuming. It's draining. Like this whole week, I canceled a workshop, a shoot, and then we just had to reschedule this just because sometimes even if it's just my mental or just certain things, if one thing isn't in order, it's hard for the rest of things to work out. So like the hair's not right, it could throw off the whole shoot. So it's a lot that goes into planning and setting up to be able to do what it is that I'm doing, I guess. Yeah. And I forget what the question was, but there was something that I was going to add.
Well, it was just like, first of all, what is it like routinely like going to the gym for yourself? Like, is that like, of course, I imagine that has to be a pretty big.
Yeah, I've been in the gym for probably like 7, 8 months now. 8 months now? I don't know. I'd have to look at my thing. And I want to say that physique and fitness are a big part of modeling, but it's really not. It's more overall health. So you could be bigger, plus size, whatever, but the biggest thing is staying healthy. That's I feel like that's the most important part of in anybody's life, is not just modeling, but anybody's life is staying healthy, because you never know, especially with all these sicknesses going around, when your last moment is going to be. So I like to. I'm always taking pictures, always constantly capturing. Been at the gym. I drink a lot of water, eat a lot of fruits and vegetables and stuff like that. High protein diet. So yeah, a lot of people, especially nowadays, don't really know what real food is, or have enough information or knowledge to be able to eat healthier or take care of themselves, because they weren't taught or don't have the access. But I feel like that's a crucial part of one's life.
Yeah, no, big time. I mean, when you're out there, I mean, it depends. I mean, obviously there's a lot of actors, and even in the modeling world, look at Ashley Graham, right? She's been like the main person out there for plus size models. You know what I mean? And she's gorgeous, and she's kind of made like a huge name for herself with like Victoria's Secret and all the other different Maxim, all the other different kind of like modeling, different different sites and different things. So she there's different ways to go about it. I think, like you said, it all depends on the different kind of modeling that you're trying to do and the different kinds of avenues within modeling that you're trying to make and stuff like that. But who is, whether it's an actor or a model, video vixen, who is somebody that you look up to or have looked up to in terms of in that space that you're currently in?
For sure, Dita Von Teese is a big one. Beyonce, obviously, so she saved my life.
Yeah.
Miley Cyrus for sure. Lavendell, that is a local one, but she's getting pretty popular. She's Fort Wayne based burlesque artist, getting pretty popular in the burlesque world. So that is one that I look up to for sure. Dita Von Teese, she's also like burlesque icon. Cher, icon of mine. J. Cole, obviously. Yeah, there's a few. And
you think J. Cole is a model?
No, it's just I take something different from each person. So it might be words, how one, how somebody carries themselves, another fashion sense, and another. Just everybody has some kind of aspect that I admire about them.
Yeah, that's dope. With creative markets that you've been in, like whether it's music videos, photo shoots, the burlesque, what is your favorite to do of those different avenues, and what is like your least favorite to do?
I definitely say burlesque is probably my favorite, just because the excitement, the adrenaline, the just everything gets so entertaining and so like, what's the word? Filling. It's filling for your soul. I feel like a burlesque show is. I highly recommend going to a burlesque show if you've never been before. It'll cure something in you. Trust me. And I feel like my least favorite would probably be, I don't know. I kind of love it all. Yeah, I gotta like it all, really.
Like, is there? Well, I'm trying to think.
Being put on projects. That I don't like not knowing. So like group projects and stuff where there's a lot of people and I don't know, and I'm like thrown into like, there's been times where I've had to like, because I also do creative directing and stuff like that, or like assisting for other people's directing and stuff like that. And there's been times where like one time in particular where I went to work on I was modeling and creative directing for this project, and it was for a salon, and all the salon girls, the owner who's putting this all together, making this all happen and paying for all of this, told me her vision, told me exactly what she wanted done and what the time frame of when she needed it. So my job was to make sure that got done alongside with the photographer and videographers. But none of the girls modeled, and they didn't want to listen, did not like the idea. Like one scene in particular of the owner wanted was all the ladies' hair blowing back, group shot, but all their hair is blowing back because we had the hair blower thing.
Mm-hmm.
None of them wanted to do that because they didn't want to ruin their hair. So it's just like,
damn.
I'm just trying to do my job.
Yeah.
And she has a vision, and I'm trying to make it work, but just like, yeah.
That can be tough. That's the incompetence of the talent, that's there that don't want to listen, don't want to participate, That's crazy, yo. Najah, what is next for you? What is next for your career? What are things that you are hoping to get into in terms of just like bigger projects? What is next for NajahRei?
Definitely going to be locking in on my weaponry so I can feature more of that in some upcoming shows. Like I said, got my March 25th Wizard of Oz themed show. Catch me as the sexy, cowardly lioness. Oh my gosh, say that 5 times fast. Sexy, cowardly lioness, sexy, coward. Oh my gosh.
That's a tough one.
Definitely that. Locking in the gym. I'm about to rewrite my workout schedule, stepping it up, leveling up constantly. Mm-hmm. And for sure, I'm about to create a few emails and fix up my portfolio because I'm trying to gather some more projects to add to that and just to refinalize and rebrand the whole thing because I'm not liking how it was. And I feel like I've shifted. So I really need to update it in my resume. And get some emails together to email some brands and Playboy about some events coming up. Yeah. So that's really what I'm trying to hone in and focus on right now for this year.
Got it completely popping.
Yeah.
That's dope. That's dope. My last question for you is, and I always ask this to everybody, it changes for each season. But what would you tell your younger self going into who you are now? What would be the message you would give to your younger self just about getting to who you are right now?
Lock the fuck in. Those that don't get right, get left. Those that don't get right, get left. Let's lock in and save every dollar. Save every dollar. Every penny counts.
Yeah, not for real.
And you can't. I never imagined that I'd be where I am now 5 years ago. I mean, I dreamt of it, but I never figured that my dreams would be able to become a reality. So it can happen. You just got to lock in. It can be you. For the good and the bad, it could always be you. I used to think, that type of stuff could never happen to me. Could never happen before I got in this wreck. Oh, I'm a good driver. That could never happen to me. It could be you. It could always be.
Yeah,
if you don't get right, don't get left.
That's real, yo. That's beautiful. Najah, where can people follow you on social media so they can check out your stuff? They can, croon and follow you and love you. Where can they find you at?
Yeah, you guys can stalk me at the Notorious NajahRei on all platforms. That includes Cash App and Venmo. The Notorious NajahRei. That's on the Playboy site, Instagram, everything. So yeah, go ahead and follow.
That is super dope, yo. Najah, thank you so much for being here. Like I said, I'm inspired by the energy. Keep the energy up. That is great.
That's right.
You got it going. So I appreciate you for being here. And thank you to all the people listening, watching the excellent podcast. You guys know what it is. Check us out on the very next podcast and vlog coming out next week. So.
All right. Thank you. Love you all and have a wonderful day.